Hello, my name is John Jeffery. I am the director and producer of the movie God Tech. I'm coming with you live today to discuss a specific subject which I've talked about in the past, but on this particular occasion I want to put into a lot more detail, and it's called 5G and the chemtrails experience that people are having all across the world. Now, a lot of videos have been done about this subject. I'm going to put some links together which you may or may not have heard before, but I would like to talk about them, and therefore I'm here now to share my experiences. To start off, I'd like to talk about 5G. I have mentioned this in a previous video, but people said that they had difficulties understanding what I was saying, hence the reason why I decided to do a live stream rather than record a video and put some nice music over the top of it, which made my voice difficult to understand. In doing so, just to let you know, I do a live stream every single week on a Sunday at 9 p.m. GMT, that's Greenwich Mean Time. And you can tune in from anywhere to hear my words. I do talk a bit about Christianity, but I do also talk about conspiracy and how it links in with religion. So, take it as you will. Now, right now, I'm talking about 5G. So I've made some notes on my side, so you will see me refer to those notes. First thing I need to tell you is that one of the letters that they use in Freemasonry is the letter G, which stands for, if I pronounce this correctly, Gnosticism, Gnosism. And this is their religious belief per se, if you will. And their symbol for Freemasonry is a compass with the letter G in the center. G is also used to represent grand, as in 5 grand, 5G. G can also mean gangster, and G also in the Roman alphabet bears the striking resemblance of the number 6, and there'll be a reason for this. Freemasonry is very big on pyramids. It's very big on 3s and 6s and 9s and anything that's a multiple of 3. There are 3 sides to a pyramid. There are 3 corners. 3 plus 3 is 6. 666 is used on all sorts of logos. You can do research into that. The Adidas logo is an example, has 3 6s in it. If you can't see them, Google it. You'll see how people can get that out of the Adidas logo. Also, all barcodes in the whole world have the number 666 in them. You're not sure about that? That's been talked about since the 90s, and if you Google or search it, you will see it. Also, Walt Disney's signature has 666 in it. Take that as you will. There are various logos around the world that use the number 666 just to make a point. Okay, maybe they're doing it because they want to show that they work on the other side, or maybe they're doing it because they just want a cool logo. 5G is the 5th generation of mobile technology. The first generation, 1G, which was actually just called G, was analog wireless calls that came in the 1980s. 2G is digital wireless calls. They came in late 80s. 3G technology came in early 90s, and that was brought in the smartphones and smart technology. And then the 4G came in 1998, and that brought in 3D televisions, video conferencing, mobile TV, and also programming from billboards. You may not be aware of this, but they do have certain electronic billboards all over the world that have 4G technology in, which the technology says they can do is put signals towards the brain. It's like a pulse, and it reminds you of an advert on television that you see on the billboard. So it's like a trigger memory. Another thing that 4G technology can do, which I was told because I work in technology, was pretty cool. If you walk into a shop and you've got a mobile phone in your pocket, and it's a smartphone and it's got 4G on it, that phone will automatically if you programmed it, could automatically flag up with an email from the shop saying, here's the latest sale. It happened with me a couple of years back when I walked into Marks and Spencer's in London, and as I walked through the door, I looked at it and it said, here's the latest offers in your Marks and Spencer's store. That happened because they had the technology to push it straight to your phone. Surprising? You should test it and see. All those junk emails you get could be because you're visiting all these sites around and they're sending you emails. Now we come down to 5G technology. 5G technology has been very hush-hush. There's been a lot of conspiracy theories around it. And I'm going to tell you my thoughts on the subject. But before I do go into 5G technology, I'm going to also talk about the chemtrails. So chemtrails, there are two types of trails left by planes. There's contrails and there's chemtrails. Some people have said, what's the difference? I mean, essentially, it's all pouring gases into the atmosphere. And yes, that is true. Contrails are the normal trails you see at the back of a plane, which you see in the sky. And after the train has passed, it leaves a little trail and then it slowly disappears. So that's what contrails. But a chemtrail is a trail which never disappears. Well, it disappears in the end, but it doesn't disappear for a long time. So it could be up there for half an hour to an hour and it's just covering the sky. And not only that, chemtrails tend to be in strips around the place. So you might see in the sky loads going up and then loads going like this. So it ends up with a blanket of cloud all over the sky. And that's what people are concerned about, is what is this whole cloud cover that's filling up the sky on the regular basis. Now, I'm going to tell you what I've experienced in my life and what I've read around. So this is what I've seen. Now, they have this technology in which they've showcased in Dubai and they've showcased in Japan called 7D technology, and they use chemtrails to manipulate it. Okay, I'll go back to 5G in a moment and how this relates, but let's talk about this for now. Now, the 7D technology produces it's like a holographic projection of something in the sky. So they did it in Japan. They simulated Godzilla walking through the streets of Japan. They first chemtrailed the whole sky, so it had this cloudy, kind of misty atmosphere in the sky. And then they had Godzilla plonk, plonk, plonk going across the town. And they did that with 7D technology, which shooted lasers into the clouds, so it looked like a real Godzilla walking through town. It was amazing. And they also did it in Dubai. They do it they did it in a museum where they showed projected a 7D whale came out of the ground and flew over the crowd and then landed with a big splash into the ground. So it was all done by laser technology. It's pretty impressive stuff if you think about the technology. And this is the kind of technology they have today. Now, going back to the Godzilla one, they did another one where they faked a UFO landing, where they lasered a UFO in the sky. And I think that's where they were trying to go. They're trying to see if people would buy that. If people would buy that as a real thing happening, that a UFO could land and they would see it in the sky and they would believe it was a UFO when actually it's just been created manufacturally. And that's what chemtrails have the power to do. On the other side of the coin, the chemtrails contain like an metals. It's like a thin metal, microscopic metal. And that metal is creating a cloud cover of metal across the sky. And basically it's designed so that it works like an antenna. So it's an antenna across the sky for the 5G technology to make it more powerful. Now, bearing in mind that 4G technology can implant a thought into your head that makes you think of an advert on TV. Where could 5G technology go? Maybe 5G technology can actually make you want to do something, like go out and buy something. You know, it could be that 5D technology can will be able to revolutionize the way that we pay for things. It might be that, you know, they talk about getting microchips in your hand or in your forehead or whatever and being able to pay for things that way around. Maybe with the 5G technology, it helps it to spread the wireless technology is easily spread. Of course, there's the other thing about how mobile technology actually works. I mean, what about GPS? I mean, GPS doesn't work unless you're either above a whole load of buildings. So when you first get in your car and you turn on the GPS and it says trying to find a signal because you've got too many buildings around and it can't pick up the signal. GPS is supposed to be from above, but some people would say it's from signals coming on the sides, not coming from above. So when you go to a higher ground, then GPS suddenly works because it can pick up the signal from the aerials on the side. And in the same way, 5D technology is probably going to be like that, in the sense they've created this cloud above. So now it's like a satellite technology. It can actually, doesn't matter where you are, you'll be able to pick up the internet. And before, you could go out and you could try and pick up an internet signal and you just can't get the signal because it's too cloudy or it's too many buildings or whatever. But if the metal was surrounding the whole Earth, then you'd be able to pick up that signal anywhere. So that might be why they're heading that way. Of course, it's bad for us because that breathing in these clouds, it doesn't help us. There's heavy amounts of depression in people in areas that are heavily clouded like that. We've been fortunate enough to move to an area that doesn't have so many chemtrails. When we were living in London, we were seeing them all the time. People were depressed, people were sad. It might be because you were in the city, but it got worse when the chemtrails came in. So I would say that they were linked. So what I believe is going to happen is that they are bringing in this technology because they want to get to a place where people will accept a control of some sort, whether it be the microchip, whether it be like a communist style control where the government is control of everything and people are like, oh, well, we have to follow this way. And I think the way they're going to do that is they're going to either do one of two things. The first thing they could do is fake a UFO attack by using this 5D technology everywhere and then seeing the UFOs come down. And then they say, this is an alien, and they fake it because media can do anything these days. Or they might even show the second coming of Jesus. And there are lots of religions out there that say that there's going to be a savior that comes down from the clouds. They could be through the UFO, or they could physically see Jesus come down. And it's not the first time they've done it. They did in another country, and I'll have to look this up on a later date and actually put the link in the description below because I haven't got that information in front of me. But they did show a fake visual of Jesus coming in from the clouds in another country, just as a demonstration. It was people knew it was fake, but who's to say they won't think it's fake when all these countries they see Jesus coming down in different places? Then it's not necessarily Jesus. I'm just using that as an example. A savior comes down from the skies. People say, oh, it must be an alien. People say, oh, it must be Muhammad. It must be Jesus. It could be anything. Or they could do it anyway. But the savior, this man will come down, or this ship will come down, and then they'll be showing, they'll be saying, this is Jesus returning, and then he'll lead the people away. And that's how what the Bible predicts as the Antichrist, who will lead everyone astray, and then it will be before Jesus is coming, according to the Bible. And that's how they can do it, because if everyone thinks there's a savior here who will save us from all of our problems, people will look to that person and then they follow that person, you know, and people can be blindsided. They can be like sheep, and that's not good, you know, and you look at the world today and it's full of sheep. So that's my view on 5G technology and chemtrails in more depth. I hope to do another video soon, and I hope you've enjoyed what you've watched. And if you are interested in subscribing, then please subscribe so I can see who's interested in this kind of thing. Write your comments in the comments below. Tell me what you think. Also, if you've got any points of view of your own opinions on this subject. I am genuinely interested. I love to hear people's opinions. I will always try to reply to every message that comes in if I can. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you next week on my next video. Thank you very much. Well, have a nice day.